So I am officially 38 years old. I stayed up late last night because I wanted to get on camera the exact moment that I turned 38. You see, I was born at 4:15 on August 26, 1979, and so I stayed up until 3:15 on the Pacific Coast to get the exact moment that it turned 4:15 in the mountain region. And this is what happened. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So yeah, about 1 or 2 seconds before it reached 4:15, my camera died because it ran out of battery power. So really, one of these days I need to get a camera that can run while it's plugged in, because the camera I have now, you can't have it plugged in and then also running at the same time, which is kind of a pain. You know, I should also just get a backup battery and a charger for this camera so that I can, swap out the battery if it's getting low. If only I had a day where people just gave me all sorts of money. Ah well. Go ahead and roll the thing. Hey guys, Sean here. So as you just saw, it is officially my birthday. This video is coming out on August 26th, which is my actual birthday. And that would be kind of a big deal if not for the fact that I've only had one birthday that has happened since I started doing this, so it's not like it's that big of a deal that it happens to be coming out on my birthday and like, oh, I've had so many birthdays where I didn't release a video on it. But then also, I guess it is kind of a big deal in the fact that since I started doing this, this is only the second birthday I've had, and it just so happened to land on a Saturday when a video came out, but now I'm just rambling on way too much and getting well beyond the point of what I'm trying to make here. So when deciding what to do for my birthday, I started looking around to see what was going on this date and all that, and I saw that one of my favorite comedians was going to be performing at the Terrace Theater, which is literally less than a mile from my apartment. Quick little side note, actually, 17 years ago today, I went to my first comedy club because it was my 21st birthday, and I saw Bobby Slayton at the Comedy Works in downtown Denver. You probably have no idea who Bobby Slayton is. So the comedian that I am going to see tonight, well, actually, I should say that I am either currently seeing him or I saw him in the past, depending on when you are watching this video. And that comedian's name is Jim Jeffries, who is a well-known Australian comedian who moved to the United States, and since he's been here, he's had 3 Netflix specials. He had a show on FX that lasted for 2 seasons called Legit, and currently he has a show on Comedy Central. So I decided I would make a theme for my birthday, because what also just happens to be less than a mile from my apartment and the Terrace Theater? An Outback Steakhouse. And so I am having a down under birthday. So in order to have this week's video coincide with my birthday theme, first off, let me tell you a little story. When I was growing up, I had a ton of stuffed animals, but as far back as I can remember, there was one that was always my most favorite, that would go with me everywhere that a stuffed animal would go with you. In fact, I believe there is a Polaroid from my first Christmas where we have all of our presents lined up, and said stuffed animal is one of those presents. Now, to be fair, this picture has always confused me because my first Christmas I would have been 4 months old, and in the picture I'm definitely not 4 months old. And so what I think it actually is, I think it's technically my second Christmas, which I would have been a year old and 4 months, but I think it on the picture was written first Christmas because, like, the first Christmas when you're 4 months old, that means absolutely nothing. But when you're a year old, it might actually mean a little bit more. So I think that's when I actually received this said stuffed animal. So what does this have to do with anything? Well, this stuffed animal was a koala, and as you know, koalas are one of the most well-known Australian animals. Now I would show you him, but I just turned 38 years old, so why would I still have the stuffed animal I had from when I was a kid? But of course, there's also the fact that I am a ridiculous hoarder and incredibly immature, so of course I still have him. He's right here. In all the time that I have had him, I have never given him a name, and I don't know why that is, but I'm not going to start now. One of the things that has always made him so special to me is the fact that the copyright date on his tag is 1979, which is the year I was born, so we were technically born in the same year. However, he was most likely born before I was because he was born in Korea, where I was not, and he had to be shipped to the United States, and then eventually sold at some store, most likely at Christmas of 1980. So, due to this little guy being my most cherished stuffed animal for my entire life, I have always had a fascination with koalas. Alright, your part's done. You can go sit down now. And so with that, here are 11 interesting facts about koalas. Why 11? I don't know, the Nostalgia Critic always does 11, so why can't I? Number 1. Regardless of what people may think, they are not bears. They're marsupials, which means they are more closely related to possums and kangaroos than they are bears. And in fact, they are equally related to humans and dolphins as they are bears because we are all mammals, which means... Number 2. They give birth to live young. When the mother gives birth to the baby, which is also known as a joey, it is about 2 centimeters long, blind, furless, and has no ears. It then begins its long journey to the mother's pouch using its heightened senses of smell and touch, as well as its strong limbs and claws, and an inborn sense of direction. A mother koala can only give birth to 1 joey at a time. However, with the 2 teats in the pouch, it can actually raise 2 at a time. It's just one will be younger than the other one. Once the joey is locked into the pouch, it will... Number 3. Stay there for about 6 or 7 months only drinking milk. Due to the toxic nature of the plants they will eat the rest of their lives, a few weeks before they leave the pouch, they must also feed on a substance known as pap, which is a form of the mother's droppings, which is runny and soft. Gross, I know. By doing this, they are able to receive microorganisms from the mother's intestines that will then be used to digest the toxic plants they will eat the rest of their lives. Once they leave the pouch, they will ride the mother's back or abdomen, returning to the pouch to receive milk until they can no longer fit. They will move out on their own between 1 and 3 years, depending on when their mother has their next joey. Once they leave their mother... Number 4. They will find a tree of their own. They're very solitary creatures and will pretty much live by themselves once they're grown. They will have a group of several trees, known as home trees, that they spend most of their time on. The area that these trees take up is known as their home range. The home range can overlap with another koala's home range. However, unless it's sexy time, they generally won't visit another koala's home tree. But essentially, they spend all of their lives in trees. So how do they get around trees so easily? Well, that brings us to... Number 5. Digits on each paw. 5 digits on each paw. First off, all of their paws are much like a human hand, in which they have opposable digits separated from the rest of their digits. For the hind paws, it's basically like if you cut your thumb off at the knuckle, they have like basically just this part of the thumb as the opposable part of their hind paw. Also, the first 2 digits on their hind paws are fused together to make kind of a handy grooming tool. So they're able to grab things with their hind paws much like a monkey or an ape is able to do. But the more interesting thing is their front paws. You see, people say that humans have domination over this planet because of our opposable thumbs, which makes it much easier for us to use tools. Well, koalas also have 2 opposable thumbs on each hand. This helps them to keep hold of the branches that they are eating the leaves off of all the time, and then also to stay securely on the trees that they live in, which is very important because they are number 6. Mostly nocturnal. But the reason that they're mostly nocturnal is because they sleep 18 to 20 hours a day, which leads us to number 7. The myth that they're high all the time because of the leaves that they eat. I will admit that I thought this was true as well until I started doing research for this video. The reason they sleep so much is because it takes a lot of energy to digest the toxic, fibrous, low nutritious plants that they eat, and sleeping is just the best way to do it. Now, the way that they are actually able to digest these plants is number 8. They have a specialized fiber digesting organ called a cecum. Now, to be fair, we also have a cecum, which is a pouch at the junction of the large intestine and the small intestine on the right side of the body. Now, in humans, it no longer functions the way it does in other animals and really just acts as the starting point of the large intestine, as well as being the connector for another useless organ, your appendix. In koalas, however, it is very long and contains millions of bacteria, which, if you remember from earlier, comes from their mother's droppings that they ate in their mother's pouch right before they left it, which made us all grossed out. These millions of bacteria break down fibrous materials to make them much easier to absorb. However, with all of this breaking down, they are only able to absorb about 25% of the fiber that they eat, which is why number 9. They eat between 200 and 500 grams of leaves a day. That is roughly 1 pound of leaves. So imagine how many leaves it would take to make 1 pound of leaves. However, there is another interesting side effect of eating that many leaves a day, and that is number 10. They don't normally need to drink since they get most of the moisture they need from the leaves that they eat on a daily basis. However, in extreme cases where there might be a drought or something and the leaves just don't contain as much moisture as they would need, they can drink, but it's just that doesn't come up that often. However, the fact that they don't drink that often has actually led to another myth about them, and that is number 11. That the word koala is an Aboriginal word that means no drink. This actually isn't true. The word koala is actually derived from the Aboriginal word gula, which is just the word that they used to name koalas. So the word koala is just derived from the Aboriginal word for koala. And there you have it, 11 what I hope were interesting facts about koalas. I will leave you with one other little thing that you can Google yourself to see what I'm talking about, and that is drop bears don't exist. So let me know in the comments down below about any interesting facts that you may know about koalas, or just any interesting facts that you may know about your favorite animal. I will be honest, in the second half of my life, ravens have kind of replaced koalas as my favorite animal, but koalas still will always hold a special place in my heart. I mean, because of this guy. But that's going to do it for me this week. If you liked this video, go ahead and hit the like button, and if you'd like to see more of the crazy crap that goes on around here, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And if you'd like to help support the crazy crap that goes on around here, go ahead and hit up my Patreon. And with that, have a good however long it is until you watch my next video.